Alright, welcome to the yet to be named fucking movie review show. I am Keith, and my co host is. What's your name?
Christian Scott.
Christian Scott. He will be the host, and I am the co host. Everyone heard that correctly the first time around. So, what have you been up to, Christian? Why'd you want to do this?
I like talking about movies, and I have a really boring life, so it kind of fits. Something to do. What about you? Don't get super philosophical either.
No. I'm not going to get philosophical. I'm just going to say that because I want to get paid to fucking watch movies. I got nothing better going on in my life, and I figured, hey, I watched this enough. Yeah, you can be a professional movie critic. It doesn't pay very much. All right, but we got some news. What news do you have for us today, Christian?
All right. So first topic I thought you might find interesting. Quentin Tarantino has kind of said his next movie, he's hoping for like a 1930s gangster Bonnie and Clyde type deal. How do you feel about that?
I think it's just another excuse for him to say nigger over and over again.
Yes, he does get a lot of use out of that word. He's all the toothpaste out of that tube.
It's probably going to be good. I mean, his worst movie isn't even really that bad.
What's his worst movie in your opinion?
Death Race. Or not Death Race, so what is it?
Death
Proof. Death Proof. I think that's a bad movie.
That was him.
I mean, it's him going for, that classic sort of 70s, B-movie sort of deal. And I get it. I do. But fuck, that movie was so boring.
Right?
It was so boring. That's how I feel about it. And no other Quentin Tarantino movie to me bored me. Even the talkie ones never bored me.
The talkies.
How do you feel about
it? His last one, Hateful Eight, I mean, I don't want to say that was his worst, because Death Proof was worse than that. But it was pretty weak. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to.
I enjoyed it a lot, but I felt I kind of, as cool as the last act was, I felt kind of cheated because it was a complete 180 from the tone of the rest of the movie. You have this, dark, sort of like classic, sort of Clint Eastwood style Western, characters, everyone's, no one's a complete white hat, no one's a complete black hat. But then it just turns into From Dusk Till Dawn. And I imagine if I watched it again, I would probably like it a little bit more with that in mind.
Actually, twice. I don't feel like the end is that, because I've heard other people kind of say that too, like, oh, the ending is just like Kill Bill.
Now, don't say like, don't mistake that as I didn't like it. I really did. I just felt that it was a completely different direction that I thought the movie was gonna go into.
I disagree. I feel like the whole movie is like building like this powder keg, it's gonna blow up at the end, and then it does. I mean, I don't know. But him doing a 30s gangster movie, I don't know. I mean, it's Quentin Tarantino. If you tell me he's making a movie, I'm gonna want to see it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Tarantino movie's like at the very base level is like a Star Wars movie to me. I'm gonna see it. I don't care what anyone else is gonna say. Could be bad. Everyone else could say it's bad. Still gonna see it.
I don't know if I put it on the same level as Star Wars.
I mean, Tarantino's...
Star Wars has 4 good movies. Quentin Tarantino... And those 3 are bad. Quentin Tarantino doesn't really have a terrible movie.
I mean, you are right. I mean, there's... Yeah. Tarantino's weakest movie is still relatively good. The best Star Wars movie still ain't that great. If you're gonna actually be honest about it and not be nostalgic.
All right, the next thing. So in the trailers that they kind of released of Batman v Superman: Dawn of the Justice, or whatever they're
Ah,
calling
the
it now.
Dong of Justice.
When it first came out, there was these images of Batman fighting these like creatures that everyone thought was going to be Darkseid being introduced in the movie. These parademons.
Yeah.
They went and said, no, 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 that's actually Batman having a nightmare sequence.
Oh, fuck you!
It's so hard they're trying to push it. It's a nightmare sequence. They're brand toys now that are called like Nightmare Batman. But because they're spoiling fucking everything with this movie with all these trailers, they show the symbol of Darkseid in one of the latest trailers. So he will be the villain for Justice League. It's pretty much confirmed.
Well, I mean, you can't have a movie in a series without saying, hey, just to let you know, there's gonna be more. I mean, that's the problem I'm starting to feel. And again, I'm gonna see all these Marvel movies, but with the DC stuff and the Marvel stuff, there's nothing real at stake. You know, there's gonna be no permanent damage. Like we already know who's gonna be in the movies in fucking the year 2020. And guess what? It's everyone that's in the next movie. We know that.
Yeah, that's some people are kind of talking about how this new Deadpool movie, if it takes place in the X-Men universe, which is supposedly, as far as we know, it does, then doesn't that kind of make the new X-Men movie that takes place in the 80s not really matter because we know everything's going to be fine?
Not necessarily to me, only because I feel like the Deadpool movie is, from the looks of it, it looks like it's taken place in, the modern day, at least around, post the year 2000, because of the cars and, the technology it looks like they have. We know that X-Men Apocalypse Now is going to fucking take place in the 80s. And as far as I could see, the only X-Men character that's going to be in Deadpool is Colossus, which
nobody's giving a fuck about.
Which no one gives a shit about Colossus. He was given 3 lines in X-Men 3 or X-Men 2 rather.
Actually, but they butchered him in the movies. Yeah, he hasn't really.
He did, but there's no real connection to X-Men anything in Deadpool. So I would say it bears about as much weight on the main story as the Suicide Squad does with the DC movies. Like, it's sort of taken place in the same line, but doesn't really have jack shit to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. But how do you feel about Darkseid being the villain for Justice League?
I don't give a shit.
I don't care.
I know, even in the cartoons, I didn't really care that much about Darkseid or Darkseid or however you want to pronounce his name. I
think it's Darkseid. I don't know what it calls him, Darkseid.
Like, I've heard Darkseid, but that just sounds really snooty.
Who said that?
I've heard different reviewers say Darkseid because it's S-E-I-D, but I mean, Darkseid honestly sounds a hell of a lot cooler.
I wouldn't be. I am Darkseid. Don't laugh at me.
I am Darkseid. I know. Just give me a minute. All right.
Porn name.
I will hit you with my Omega beams. I know. It sounds silly.
He's one of those villains that I just don't care. I don't find that interesting. Like, these big space villains who are obsessed with death and war. I don't like Thanos or what's the name of the planet eater?
Oh, Galactus.
Yeah, these like giant space dudes. I don't find very compelling as far as characters go. There might be a comic out there that I read it and I'm like, oh my god, Galactus is the best, but that's yet to happen.
And the way I feel about it with Thanos and Darkseid and Galactus, they are the weakest parts of their own story. Like, the cooler shit is happening with everyone interacting with them and because of them. they themselves are just kind of fucking dull. And once they've been beaten once, it's like, what's the fucking point the next time, you know? It's like they can be beaten once and they're not very scary anymore.
But, it's all in. I mean, we'll see who they cast as Darkseid. That could change my opinion if they get like a really great actor.
Now, I will ask you a question. Do you think that it would be better to make Darkseid completely animated, or do you think it would be good for them to do like this, like the Thanos thing, where they have Jeffrey, or what's his name? Who's doing it? Thanos?
I know who he is. No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Nolan.
Yeah, him. If they have him in a mocap suit, do you think that would work doing Darkseid?
In my opinion, the best way to do Darkseid would be to have him be a giant cloud that eats planets.
And looks like a giant mass of half diarrhea. Half solid, half liquid.
Well, I mean, look, Darkseid, I don't give a shit. They could do practical.
I don't really either, because even in, he did a cartoon, it was like the last cartoon I saw with Darkseid in it. It was a Superman one with Supergirl in it. Pretty good, but he kept saying, "Oh, I will take you out with my Omega beams," and I was just like, I'm not taking you seriously. Why did you name those that? Like, they looked very powerful. They destroyed the entire landscape, but like, you could have picked a better name.
I don't know. I mean, if they get a great actor, I'll be down. I'll be. I'm gonna see it. They already have my money. They don't need to sell me on it.
Yeah, I mean, they put in a lot of money to do the Fantastic Four movie, and that wound up being a giant turd. So I skipped it. Everyone said they hated it, and not because it was bad, but just because it was plain boring, and then it turned bad.
I'm saying that.
What?
I'm a person saying Fantastic Four. Maybe if you and I get together once or something and watch it together, that'd be one thing, but...
Yeah, because we did sit down and watch the movie we're going to review. We did do that, so I don't think Fantastic Four is completely out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, we'll get to that. This is something I thought you might be interesting more than me. They're supposedly doing another Conan the Barbarian movie.
Down! I'm down.
Right.
As long as they make it King Conan and make it Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't want a surfer dude being Conan.
Wasn't Conan in that last remake they did, played by Aquaman, Jason Momoa?
I think so. And he was all like fucking dude bro in it the whole time.
I didn't see it. I've only seen the first Conan movie. That's not a series.
Conan the Barbarian is one of my favorite 80s movies, and not just 80s movies, but also like, sword and sandals type of stuff. I think it's great.
Better than The Passion.
What?
Nothing. Okay,
Better than The Passion? Well, I will say, if you love torture porn, then The Passion might be down your alley.
Well, supposedly he's going to have Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's saying it's going to happen. It'll be that he's been king for like 30 years and his people are trying to get him out of power. That's what supposedly the plot might be.
I'm down. I'll give it a shot. I'm down.
But did you see the last Terminator, though?
Nope, I did not. Because I was very worried about the whole thing. Not just because they spelled Genesis wrong, but because it looked like it was just going to be, hey, you like time travel? So do we. We didn't even think about tying it all together correctly.
It's okay. I don't know. It's not the worst thing ever, but I don't know. I mean, Schwarzenegger, I feel like he needs a movie to kind of put him maybe back on top, because these last movies have not been doing it. So yeah, him and Conan might be good. I don't know.
And like, I didn't see that drama that he did with like the sort of zombie flick. I heard. Do what?
Jingle All the Way.
Yes, Jingle All the Way. The the Christmas zombie movie he did called Jingle All the
What's
Way.
that?
But it was like a dramatic role for him. He was trying to kind of save his daughter, sort of thing. I didn't see it because I haven't had the opportunity to really look for it
Or the interest.
or the interest. Honestly, I thought it was. I thought it looked pretty good, and it's like the first time where Arnold Schwarzenegger is actually taking a dramatic step into a movie instead of basically playing the Arnold Schwarzenegger character. So I want to give it a go. But as far as Conan, as long as they stay true to the feelings of the first Conan movie, even a little bit into the second one, I'm all for it.
All right. Here's one hitting the nostalgia factors. A Labyrinth sequel might be in the works.
Why?
Yes. David Bowie has shed coil, but they're thinking of either doing a sequel or a reboot, something of another Labyrinth movie. How do you feel about that?
Well, if they remake it, I guess it's fine as long as they work with the Jim Henson Company.
How do I feel?
But a reboot, that means that they're going to make a whole series of it. I didn't think it was that interesting to make more than one of them. And
Okay. There are movies that I have nostalgic feelings for because they're part of my childhood, like The Neverending Story and Labyrinth, or where they're movies that, yeah, like I can watch, but when you think about it, they're not really that great.
Like here's the thing, Labyrinth bombed hard when it came out in theaters. It did not make anything. They considered it bad, and then since then it's gained a cult following because David Bowie's his dong shows the whole movie. So
Yes.
I mean who
Ass is a guy. Make sure he has a giant bulge. Put that in the notes.
they should, yes, writing it down right now, giant dong, send that to Disney.
But I like Labyrinth. It's a movie that if it's on, I'll watch it. I enjoy it. If they want to reboot it or do a sequel, I'm fine with it. I'm just kind of like, why? I mean, what audience Labyrinth 2?
And they said, I saw in the release, they said, we didn't make this, we've been working on this for years now, and it's just a coincidence that we release it at David Bowie's death. And it might, kind of doubt it, but it might. I mean, I'm not that big a fan of the movie, like a lot of other people are, but I'm a fan of other movies that not a lot of people are, so I get it. If they make it good, I'll probably wind up watching it. I won't pay to see it in theaters.
One is Jareth the Goblin King.
Well, if they're going to stick with musicians, then maybe they could bring in Keith Richards. What?
Keith Richards is more Scarecrow than Man now. I mean, why would they get him?
Well, I mean, he's done some crazy shit in the past.
He's
And they don't have to put makeup on him. They could save money there.
I think it'd be a bad idea to let Keith Richards around anybody young, because he might try to suck their blood and life essence like he's been doing.
But no, in all seriousness, if they were going to do a Goblin King that is also a famous musician, why not make it progressive and do a gender bent sort of thing? Goblin Queen, kidnapping little boys.
All right.
The thing is, it sounds a little pedophilic. I get it, but so does the first one.
Yeah.
The first one it explains it without openly going, "Hey, I'm a pedophile."
There's a sequel manga, I guess, about him becoming a guidance counselor at her school.
That sounds like the Japanese would do that. Yes.
That just sound creepy though.
Like that sounds right down the Japanese alley.
Now I'm going to inspire you to go to college or whatever guidance counselors do.
But make sure that you wear that skimpy skirt.
You don't have to get necessarily a musician. I don't. I mean, I don't.
I mean, why else would they make a Labyrinth movie? What? I mean,
Like that character is just so David Bowie. I can't even think of
I know.
someone else. You know?
like any role that David Bowie has ever played, I can't imagine anyone else doing it and it just feeling right. Because I don't want this to turn into a David Bowie love fest, but the guy just had an air around him, and it had a voice that was just musical, even when he was just talking plain. So I don't know. I don't know why they're even making this, but if they can make it right, who's to say that, they can't make a movie? I don't really care though.
All right. All right. Kind of the last piece of news I thought you might find interesting. Universal is trying to make like a shared universe with their monsters. Have you heard about that?
Man, they've been trying to do that shit for like 40 years.
Now they're really trying. Now they're putting some effort into it. They're gonna the first one coming out is a mummy movie with Tom Cruise. He's signed on.
I have heard little tidbits about the Mummy movie, and I think that honestly is the hardest one to do, unless you go, like what they did with the Brendan Fraser one. They made it a Hallmark sort of thing, big action, sort of flashy stuff, but they took the romance and just made that sort of a side thing, whereas the original, the romance is a big part of it.
And then the third one, he fought Yetis.
Yeah. I mean, is The Mummy a perfect movie? No. But it's fun. I will forgive a movie for being fun. Like, I forgive a lot of Nolan movies. Even when he's sitting there ridiculing me, oh, you're just not smart enough to get my movie. They're fun.
One.
Yeah, the last one. Like, you're fucking pushing your luck, Nolan. But no, I think they could do it, and I've heard of it. Say that again?
Like, listen to me, Josie. I'm gonna make this movie. You question it. You're an idiot.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's like, oh, you just didn't like the ending because you just didn't get it. Like, my movie's just smart enough. Like, no, you made a bad ending. Move on. That's okay. But
Take the game and move on.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But with the Mummy thing, I've heard a few things here and there about it. And with Tom Cruise attached, that gives it potential right there. I mean, how many movies has Tom Cruise in the past few years that have actually been bad?
Yeah, I'm not really into the Mission Impossible series, so I have no idea. I mean, supposedly those are good. I don't know.
Well, they really didn't start getting good until like the fourth one.
Do you think that Tom Cruise would be like, maybe like a Nick Fury type character, like he'll be in all the movies or something?
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah, him play like a sort of a Van Helsing kind of character. I think that's what they've been talking about. I think that could be okay. If they're going to bring these Universal monsters together, at what point are they going to bring in horror?
That's a good question, yeah.
Because the originals are flat-out horror movies. They're not action, they're not really flashy, they're scary. Dracula, scary. Mummy, scary. Werewolf, scary. Like, all they're scary movies. I don't think they're going to make these scary.
Yeah, I guess it kind of depends on the tone they go. I mean, like you said, with The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, they don't really focus on horror.
Right, they're focusing on big action and, superstitious and, loosely based on Egyptian mythology, which, why not making a super fun movie?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm curious, are they going to set it in like modern times? Are they going to go in like the 50s or 30s or something? I mean,
I think it would be best if they set those movies around the times when the original ones came out. Because,
I actually think that's like the opposite. I'm the current movies.
well, well I, it's really hard to make a scary movie in the modern day because you have to give some sort of bullshit about why cell phones don't work, or like little things that totally end a scary movie in about 3 minutes.
I don't. Yeah, we'll see. All right, that's kind of the end of the news. You want to just jump into this?
Do-
Donkey shit.
you know, people out there listening, we have committed a sin because I don't want Adam Sandler to get money. I don't, because he makes bullshit. And you know what? It makes me hate Adam Sandler even more because he can act.
Can he?
He can't Punch Drunk Love, Reign Over Me. He can act.
The Ridiculous Six has made me question everything he's done. I now think that Punch Drunk Love has maybe like
A fluke?
4 hours of deleted scenes where he's just like "Babadoo, shababadoo," and Paul Thomas Anderson, the genius that he is, was able to cut around that find a performance in there and somehow shack it together.
He could.
I'm convinced there's a reel out there of just Paul Thomas Anderson rubbing his eyebrows in shame. Like, all right, Adam, let's just try to do this scene. You're trying to be vulnerable here and get the audience behind you. And Adam Sandler's like, well, if I like to play with the poopy, then what's going to happen about it?
Which he took all of the advice and all the things that you just said and condensed it into a movie that was about 45 minutes too long.
2 hours
Two full hours. Like, the credits, the opening and ending credits only account for about, 4 or 5 minutes together? This movie is 2 hours long. And right out of the gate, he already lets you know, hey, this is gonna be a bad movie. And he does, because Steve Zahn, who you want to walk up to and go, hey, remember when you used to be Steve Zahn? And everyone loved you? Well, now you're in this. And with a shit-ass CGI cross-eye and saying engines and...
Steve Zahn.
We bring up Quentin Tarantino earlier about, his movies being a little racist. I think this movie's more racist than Quentin Tarantino is.
That's like the thing wrong with it. Like, yeah, okay, racist, but that's not even what bothered me. Like,
no, it is not. It is
things.
not. That were the little colorful sprinkles on this shit sundae.
Yeah, by the way, it's racist, but there's all this other wrong with it.
Oh yes. Now, what was the first thing that went through your head when you were watching this movie?
I hate you for recommending it. That motherfucker. First epic movie, which I have still not forgiven. Now this hunk of shit. He's just trying to drive me slowly insane or something? Like, why would he ask me to watch this? Like, yeah, the first joke is that Steve Zahn has crazy eyes, but is not really that funny. And then Adam Sandler, like, did you just feel that he was bored in this movie?
The entire way through. He was doing this sort of weird Clint Eastwood sort of thing that you're sitting there going, man, you are not Clint Eastwood. Stop it.
I did not. But that's the face he makes when he's getting his prostate checked.
It just
Unbelievable seriousness. It's like I have to do this. Just getting through it, Sandler.
I want to know what was going through Netflix's minds when they said, "Hey, let's give Adam Sandler a movie." You know what? No, let's give him a series of movies that he could put on our network exclusively.
I knew he was going to be in it. I even have it on my notes. I was like, where is he? And then he showed up within the first 5 minutes. Nick fucking Swardson.
I know, that... Oh, if you want to know if a movie's bad, look for him. Somewhere, even if he's in the background, if he's like CGI'd in like a George Lucas movie, that's a testament. That's a sign that's saying, hey, you might want to turn this off.
Swardson, I know you're hitting there somewhere. Then he just shows up, and I was like, of course.
And you know what? He's in this movie a good bit.
Yeah.
He either is like Adam Sandler's best friend, or he's the only place that he can actually get work.
I think Adam Sandler owns the souls of like Nick Swardson, Rob Schneider, David Spade. Norm Macdonald was in this movie. Do you remember him in it?
Yeah.
Taking a break from doing those KFC commercials. Do you need money? Do you need money, McDonald? You're not rolling in the KFC cash.
I mean, I won't necessarily fault Norm Macdonald, because where else is he actually getting a chance to be in anything? But there's one person that continues to be in Adam Sandler's movies. There's two people, but one of them I'm still just shaking my head at, and that's Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi. Yeah, I'm gonna say that.
You know, Steve Buscemi is probably one of the greatest actors working today. And when I saw him in Grown Ups 2, dressed up as Flavor Flav, I just went...
That actually sounds pretty funny.
You know, you think that, but when you see it, you're just like... I feel like I've just died a little.
Why is he in these Adam Sandler movies? Like, okay, Boardwalk Empire, a brilliant TV show where he finally got to be like the star of. Because most Buscemi stuff, he's not really like the main dude.
He's a side character.
But he's the star of Boardwalk Empire, and he's brilliant in it. And then I get to see him putting ointment in like a donkey's ass, and then in Taylor Lautner's mouth in this movie. I mean,
man, my soul broke a little bit, and you know, and the thing is, it shouldn't have, because I knew step by step where that fucking scene was gonna go. Like Steve Buscemi plays a dentist in this movie, and I guess he's a dentist because he's messing with their teeth, but it looked like he just some sort of, hey, I got an ointment that'll fix fucking anything, and the only chairs I could afford were dentist chairs. And he puts ointment on people's face, in a bull's ass, then in people's mouth, and then fucking brushes people's teeth, and why? Why, Steve?
What is the plot of this movie?
The plot, if you can call it one, is Nick Nolte, which is the only person taking this shit material seriously. One reason, I don't know why, but two, good for him, because I still love Nick Nolte. I do. He broke my heart when he had that crying scene in Warriors. And he broke my heart when I saw him in this.
Our mouth doing all that gurgling. Why did he talk like that throughout this movie? Is he choking?
You're my son, and I gotta go with you. Yeah, it's just... Anyway, where was I going with this? Steve Buscemi.
No, Nick Nolte.
Nick Nolte, right? Nick Nolte. When he showed up, he's basically really only there to be the plot, because the only time where the plot actually moves forward is when he shows up on screen. Adam Sandler doesn't have jack shit to do with this plot. He's just doing his wacky Adam Sandler thing with a straight serious face. And the only time
he doesn't do a funny voice.
Yeah, he doesn't do a funny voice through this entire fucking thing. But
there is a scene actually when they're trying to make Harvey Keitel's character try to think that he's crazy. You hear him do a goofy voice.
Oh yeah, how could I? You know, how of all the terrible fucking things in this movie, how could that just skip my brain? And it's like that was like the least of this. That was the least stupidness of this whole movie. But the plot of this movie, whenever Nick Nolte decides to show up on screen and tell us what it is he's an old black hat cowboy who's dying of, I think it's consumption. Even though he doesn't really cough or cough up blood or do anything to actually show us that he's dying of consumption. And says, I buried some treasure. You got to go find this treasure. I'm going away with some bad people. And then they take him. He gives him a hint of where it is. And then hilarity, if you can call it, ensues.
Well, something ensues.
Huh?
Something ensues. It's not hilarity. It's, I don't know.
And, alright. Half of my fucking notes that I have here are either saying, please help me, why did I do this, what is wrong with my life? But his wife in this movie, I think they're married or about to get married or something like that. Oh boy, what was her name? Smoking Fox.
Along with the other authentic Native American names, Never Wears a Bra, and Beaver Breath.
Yes, that old Beaver Breath. How could I... they were actually Native Americans, Indians, I don't know. I don't think I could be any more offensive to them than this movie already was. That actually walked off of the set and saying, this is just incredibly offensive to us. I'm not doing this shit no more. And the other Indians that stayed on were like, bitches gotta get paid. Oh, man. So, why don't you tell me what it was like when he encountered his first brother?
Yeah, because Sandler goes on this quest to try to rob from people to get money that he could pay off these bandits that kidnapped his father. And on the way, he finds out that his dad had a lot of sex throughout the West and had a bunch of these. One of them is, of course, Rob Schneider.
Which that motherfucker cannot complain anymore about why he can't get roles.
His whole shtick is that he talks like a funny Mexican, and he has a donkey. And yes, I know what you're thinking, but do they make donkey poop jokes? Yes, that's in there.
Oh, and not only do they make a poop joke, they actually have a literal poop joke.
Poo.
Real poo. Well,
yeah,
not...
Because what's better than seeing Chris Parnell get covered in feces?
Chris, why? I love you, Chris. Why?
My notes. Everybody's name and the word "why" next to it.
Dude, after a while, I just stopped writing down names of like, why are you in this? Because it got to be too many, and my heart was just breaking. But directly after, it's not even like a few minute break. No, absolutely not. Directly after we met Rob Schneider, I didn't even know that that Nick Nolte banged his mom. He just sort of showed up and went, I guess they are brothers. Boy, that Taylor Lautner.
Okay, I cannot tell a lie in that I hated him. I found him funny in the movie. I think it's just like the base monkey part of my brain, just looking at that goofy ass smile of his. I found it funny. I can't help it.
You know, at first I did too. Because he plays he goes full retard. He goes full retard. He's like the simple Jack of this movie. Full retard the entire time. Like,
I found him funny. I could have been desperately seeking something to laugh at. But look, when they hung him and he starts to pretend that he's choking, just be like, oh, I'm just kidding. I couldn't help it. I cracked up.
you know, and there are certain things that are in all movies where they bring up something that, you know, doesn't play a part into anything, but you go, I bet that's going to come in handy at some point in this movie, but they're going to do it. Yeah, he mentions, my neck doesn't ever break, or, you know, I can't even remember why he said it, but you knew that he was going to get hung. And, you know, that was rather amusing. Not the hanging part, but when he gets stuck on their wagon and he's just being dragged. That part did crack me up a little bit, I will say.
Help it.
I mean, this movie sucked so much of my brain out of the skull. I just couldn't help but start laughing at some things.
Dirty afterwards too.
Huh?
I felt dirty afterwards too.
I did. I felt like Adam Sandler had touched me, and then he started to do the little Nicky voice in my head after he touched me.
I guess he's going.
Now,
so you have Rob Schneider, Taylor Lautner. The other brothers are Luke Wilson, who was... Luke Wilson, you were Richie Tenenbaum in my favorite movie, and now you're in this.
You know, he did play the straightest character in this movie.
His story itself was kind of funny. Was that Chris Kattan playing John Wilkes Booth?
Yes. I thought the same thing. I'm like, is that Chris Kattan? And yes, it was. And all I could think of was, I wonder how many fights he picked with people on the set. That's something he's notorious for.
So, Wilson's a brother. Terry Crews, who I always find enjoyable, even if he wasn't even that funny in this movie, but he has a presence that I enjoy.
Who did?
As the black brother.
Oh, Terry Crews.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just basically just being Terry Crews. Nothing real special, just being Terry Crews. And let's see, that's 5. Who was the other one? Oh, the fat guy from Lost. Who, I don't even know if you can call this a character. Herm.
Busy or something? Why did they get that guy?
Like, it's not like Herman. It's just Herm, because all the character does is just sit there and mumble and stutter, can't form actual words. Herm, H-R-M. That's his name.
Yep, and most of it's just fat guy antics.
Yes. Fat guy antics. That's his character, fat guy antics to, like, mumbles and stutters. Now, basically, once with that little piece of the plot in mind, him, you know, trying to rob people and, you know, to get money to save his dad, and finding brothers along the way. It's the same story repeated over and over again for about, I don't know, what would you say, a good 35 to 40 minutes?
Felt longer, but I guess.
And, you know, this movie did you a favor. It really did. Because it decided, you know, this plot's probably a little too complicated. So, you know, we're going to take a 9-minute break to play baseball.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
I figured you would because I did a couple times. I'm like, oh no, 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 I'm remembering your ass. John Turturro, who's a guy who I just quit going, this is all you do now. You're no longer Jesus from The Big Lebowski. You're no longer that guy from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. You are an Adam Sandler actor, and that's all you are now.
Don't forget Transformers.
And how could I forget that masterpiece, Benchwarmers?
Transformers.
Oh, Transformers. I think he may have been in Benchwarmers too, but Transformers, where he got peed on by Autobot. Yes. I didn't even find that scene funny.
The baseball scene in this movie. Why?
It's not funny. Because, we're making fun of baseball because it seems like all the rules are made up. Like, you do these things. Oh, no, it has to be like, I didn't swing at 3 strikes. Or, oh, hey, I'm on base, but now I get to steal. I get it. It doesn't make it funny.
Yeah, that scene, and it went on for fucking ever, too. I was just like, I get the joke. I get it. I got the concept.
While I was watching it, I clocked it. It was like 9 minutes. It took a break for 9 minutes to do one baseball joke.
What'd you think of Harvey Keitel in this movie?
He was Harvey Keitel. I mean, he's been in Adam Sandler movies, He's been in a lot of them. And
his death scene was one of the things I found funny.
Where he just gets his head knocked off with a shovel.
Still smiling.
and then they take a 45-second break to just sit there and make fun of how his head got knocked off. I'm even getting a little tired just sitting there like, yes, this movie, this joke and this joke. This movie's tiring.
Yeah, it was hard to get through.
But I will say...
But thank God.
Thank God for what?
You know where I'm going with this?
I do, because I think this is going to be my next bit.
Thank God for Vanilla Ice.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Well, you would hear yourself say that, but he was funny in this. He cracked me up in this.
Like, I could not help it. And I felt shame afterwards. But I had to keep beating myself going, hey, knock it off. Knock it off. This is actually funny.
Yeah, and he plays, out of the most random casting, he plays Mark Twain.
Ghetto rapper Mark Twain. It's fucking funny.
It's like a Saturday Night Live sketch. He's only in it for like 5 minutes, but it's funny.
Yeah, and much like the Saturday Night Live sketches, there tends to be just one character that makes that whole skit kind of worth watching. And that's Vanilla Ice. God damn it, was that funny?
But this movie is, it's a turd. I hate you for making me watch it.
And we've had this show trying to get going for 3 weeks now.
Mainly your fault, but yeah.
Yeah, mainly my fault. Scheduling conflicts, I'm not gonna say anyone's fault. But whenever you were ready to record, I wasn't. Whenever I was ready to record, you weren't. And part of me was just going, he's just skipping out because this movie's a piece of shit, right?
Oh, I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to get my out for this movie. Adam Sandler, I don't even get, okay. You think about it. How many people in Saturday Night Live have gotten out of that show and gone on to make good careers? He had potential in the beginning.
Statistically speaking, not many people.
Yeah, Will Ferrell, Dan Aykroyd, kind of, but even he's kind of...
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd has fallen by the wayside, and Will Ferrell's the one time Or excuse me, the 2 times Will Ferrell tries to do something different and nobody likes it.
But you liked, didn't you like that, Everything Must Go movie?
I did. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie. I can say that I loved it. I've seen it a few times.
I didn't care for it.
And see, neither did anyone else.
Go back to the funny, Ferrell. Stop making me feel.
But Stranger Than Fiction,
I love that movie.
that is a fantastic movie. Nobody liked it.
Oh. My point is, like, people who are in Saturday Night Live, very few of them make it. And then you have someone like Adam Sandler, who did make it out and could have prospered, but has just plummeted.
But not even really, because are any of the things that he does quality? No. But they all make their money back and they all profit. From a business standpoint, selling your soul to the devil is a good thing. Like even grown-ups made its money back.
I want Sandler to, I guess it'd be too much hope for him to burst into flame and just die. But let's go, Sandler. Let's Steve Buscemi free for whatever shackles you have in.
Now, I don't know how much this movie cost to make. It looked like it was the most expensive one he's made yet.
I don't know.
And that's not really saying a whole lot, but it did. It looked, because some of to be honest, some of the cinematography looked pretty good, but that's about it. Maybe I was the only one actually searching the rest of the screen for something redeemable about this movie. I gotta say, some of the cinematography looked good. Maybe this movie was so stupid that I was sort of like in a dazed high. I don't know, but that's how I felt.
Movie's shit. Nothing good.
Yeah.
Moments that I laughed at do not justify the fucking hour and 55 minutes of other stuff that's in this movie.
Do you want to go into final thoughts, or do you want to talk about the ending? Because, like, I'm getting tired of just fucking thinking about this movie.
I'm ready to put it to bed.
You are? Okay. Folks, we're gonna... If you want to watch this movie, absolutely nothing that we could say would ever deter you. So, we're just not... Yeah, we're not gonna bother. I don't want to. Christian doesn't want to. So... we're going to go into some final thoughts. My final thought is this movie is a piece of fucking shit. Because, yeah, it's bad. It is awful. It is horribly made. The cinematography kind of looked good, but who gives a shit? This movie, like, it's like they wrote this shit on cocktail napkins over, like, a few days. But you know what? Its worst thing is that this movie's cocky. It thinks it's good. This movie thinks it's good. So no, this movie's a piece of shit because it's like, well, I'm better than I actually am. So you know what I give this movie? I'm gonna rate this on a 1 from 5 scale on Netflix, and I'm just gonna give this a 1 out of 5. Rob Schneider, shut the fuck up.
I can't. Is 0 a probability? Can I give it 0?
No, unfortunately you can't, because Netflix doesn't think that a movie can be a 0.
I defy you. I'm gonna give it 0 stars. 1 out of 5. I'm gonna make a petition. Netflix, ridiculous 6.
What's your monotonous star? What's your monotonous sort of star?
I don't know. Describe that to me.
You know, like what I said. 1 out of 5. Rob Schneider, shut the fuck up.
I don't know. 1 out of 5. Please, Steve Buscemi, kill yourself.
Oh my god.
If you can't stop yourself from being in these pieces of garbage, just kill yourself. End it now. End my Buscemi. Or get back in touch with the Coens. I don't know.
Get back in touch with the Coens. Get back in touch with fucking Quentin Tarantino. Somebody else. So, yeah, it's a 1 out of 5 for both of us. And technically it's a 0 star for Christian. That was... What?
I'd go lower if I could.
So would I. Honestly, so would I.
Alright. My thoughts for the next movie, because you put this on me, I put this back on you.
That is only fair. You know, I think we should do that. Do a, you know, my idea, your idea, my idea, your idea. I think that works.
Human Centipede 3.
Oh, fuck!
Yeah.
I didn't even know you were gonna go there. Oh my god. You know, I'm actually kind of crying right now.
That is it. I put that on you now.
Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Don't you put that on us.
God damn it. I can't imagine a worse movie for you to have done to me. So is this what this podcast is just going to be? Bets to see which one of us can break first?
I think so. That works.
Okay. All right. You got it. You got it. So does that mean that for the next show that I could just drink? So, or do you want me to... I can drink? Oh, thank God. Because I don't think I could talk about that movie sober.
See? Can't be worse than that.
Oh, boy. All right.
All right.
That was The Ridiculous Six, and tune in for The Human Centipede 3.
We'll see if he's still living by that. He hasn't slashed his wrists.
Fuck you.
You're welcome.
All right. Welcome to the yet-to-be-named fucking movie review show. I am Keith, and my co-hosts